Although this 2025 Indian Scout may look very similar to the previous generation 2024, it has some hidden changes that are not easy to see to the naked eye. And those changes make this 2025 well worth the upgrade. And then there's the big one. The first thing that we need to talk about is one big important thing that has not changed. If you own a Scout currently, the ride quality that you get out of your 2024 Scout is very, very similar. It did not lose any of its character. It did not lose any of its feel. It did not lose any of its ergonomics. It did not lose any of its new rider friendliness. It is still an Indian Scout. If you close your eyes and ride both of them, it's very hard to tell the difference in actual feel outside of the obvious power plant upgrade that this one got. But your inputs, everything you're touching is of the same quality, and it seems just like a newer upgrade where you got a little bit more tech and some basic things along those lines. But for the most part, if you love your Scout, you're gonna love this 2025 Scout. And if you do not yet have a Scout, you're gonna love this 2025 Scout. If you guys want to hear about the really, really big change that happened to this motorcycle, stick around to the end where I tell you exactly what I think about it and give you my thoughts and tell you if it's actually worth the upgrade. Now, starting from the front, moving towards the back, this is the 2025, this is the 2024. They have essentially the same wheel, big 19-inch. They have a dual piston caliper, single-sided rotor. This is a Rogue, this is a Sport. They changed the name on the 2025s to kind of match the Chief lineup, to kind of have uniformity around the lineup. But essentially the Rogue and the Sport are the same motorcycle. Bobber for bobber is pretty much the same thing, and obviously now they have a new 101. But front wheel, front forks are essentially the same length, same travel, same suspension. They give you the very same ride quality, same rotor, same brake setup. And that's kind of about where the similarities lie. That's pretty much it. Everything else has some sort of change or nuance or detail. Starting from here, even though they both may have quarter fairings and windscreens, 2025 has full LED high and low beam, whereas the 2024 still has a traditional halogen bulb. The 2024 did have LED turn signals, and those carried over to the 2024 model, but headlight is actually different. As I'm sitting here next to this 2025 Indian Scout, I really did forget to tell you guys something. Click that subscribe button. Thank you. Moving further away, on the 2024 model, we previously had these taller bars, which was the difference between the other models and the actual Rogue. So the Rogue had this, and they created the elevation through a different bar setup. This 2025 Sport Scout here has an elevated bar where your hand position is, but it does it a little bit differently. We have 6-inch risers with a T-bar setup instead of the actual elevated bar. These can be upgraded to the 10 inches. Obviously, that's a factory option that you can go ahead and put on there. They do not come stock with it, but a 6 or a 10-inch riser is how you get the elevation on the Sport Scout. 2024 buttons. All of this has changed. We have high-low, turn signal, horn, and there's a little button back here to cycle through the menu on the screen. That's it. We have start stop, kill switch, start switch over there. The buttons are different on the new 2024s. They look like this. And they also have some different tech. You have your horn, you got your turn signals, you have a menu button because it has a nice fancy 4-inch digital display on this Plus Tech package, but you also have cruise control fitted to the Limited and the Limited Plus Tech, high-low beams. On the opposite side over here, you have your cycle switch to cycle through the menus, kill switch, and then instead of having a power button, it has this to turn it on, and you have the ignition button right down here that you can't see just slightly off camera. But 4-inch digital display, that's going to be the big change on the actual tech, and that is on the Plus Tech package, which is a Limited Plus Tech. When you look at the shape and the size of the tank, it does look very similar, but it is different. If you notice, this is an all metal tank. That tank is metal as well, but you got your fuel cap here. On the center one, you have this, which is your console for your heated grip options that you can go ahead and add. Aftermarket, you got the cap off to the side. Still is a metal tank, slightly different design, and this is gonna be the big change on the tank. One of the other changes is actually the entire frame itself. Even though it's ergonomically the same and it looks very similar, this is a cast aluminum frame, and I noted this on the 2024 Scout review. If you haven't, go ahead and click on this link up here somewhere, probably over here, to actually check it out and get my thoughts and impressions on what I thought on the 2024. Also, 2025 is gonna be coming, so go ahead and watch that as well. So frame, a little bit different design. It looks like this, big, bulky. Subframe in the back is also very different. 2025, we have a more tubular design, so the frame itself looks a little bit narrow. It's a little bit different. Also have the air intake on the side, so this is actually the Ram air intake that actually, you know, lets the air into the air filter in the air box. very, very small change you will not notice too much unless you actually pay attention to the details, is this is a pedal. You have your brake pedal on this side, whereas in the 2024, it's a peg like this. Also, brake peg, which this is the shifter peg, but the brake peg is the same on the other side. On the 2025s, it's actually a little shorter and a little thicker, so it's a little bit more stumpy of a peg on the shifter side of the 25. We have made our way to the back of the motorcycle. This is the 2024. LED turns. As you can see, the frame is outside of the rear fender, and the rear fender is smooth and short cut. And you will notice that when we jump to the 2025, has a little ergonomic design right here, has a little curvature to it, and the frame for the lights is actually not on the exterior of the fender. It's on the inside, and they're kind of mounted down here a little bit lower. Small visual cue. If you look at it at a glance, you wouldn't notice the difference, but they did make a difference. Now, the big difference, the real thing that you guys actually came here to see. On the 2024, this is a Rogue 60, but we're not gonna talk about that. On the actual bigger Rogue, the 1100, you have this motor into two exhaust pipes. On the new one, you would notice that it is a 2-into-1 design that's a little bit different, and that's because of this guy, the 2050cc, 2050cc, 2050cc Speed Plus motor. This thing makes 105 horsepower. That's what Indian's advertising, and this much torque because I don't remember at this exact moment in time. From going out and riding this thing, if you guys want to check out the review that I have on this 2025 Scout, click on this thing right here. But just to give you a verbal description, this motor is a lot stronger than the previous generation. So if you have a 2024, you're going to notice more mid-range power, and you're going to notice more top end carry. This thing is significantly more aggressive than this thing, and I'm referring to the 1100 Rogue, not this Rogue 60. So you actually do notice the difference. I know it may only be 10-15 horsepower on paper, but it is a substantial difference in the seat of the pants. When you rip the throttle on this 2025 model, you feel the back end squat a little bit and you get pushed back into the seat. On this 2024 model, it does carry and you do feel the acceleration, but it's happening. You do not feel it in your body. Whereas on this bike, it's beginning to touch that power level where you literally need to feel it and hold on. The seat does a great job holding you in place as you're accelerating, but this Speed Plus motor is absolutely worth the change if you are looking for a faster bike. If you like the way that your 2024 feels and rides and you're happy with the amount of power that it delivers, 100%, there's a bunch of changes, but ergonomically it feels the same. I don't think that you would be very satisfied upgrading to a 2025 if you are happy with the power level that your 2024 provides. Now, if you're on the lookout for a more powerful cruiser and you're ready to step up to something that is more powerful, a little bit more substantial, a little bit more pronounced, requires a little bit more attention before you flip the throttle, yet you happen to like how your 2024 feels and rides, the 2025 is 100% worth it. That Speed Plus motor is a dream. I'm telling you guys, it is a beast. It's a pretty aggressive, and I can imagine that when you put an exhaust and a tune on this thing, it's going to carry so much better, and I think that it will probably put at the 100 horsepower at the wheel mark once you get a dyno tune. Not 100% sure because I haven't seen them yet, but the way that it feels when you accelerate, I think it has 100 horsepower in it with an exhaust. So there you guys have it. That's the difference between a 2024 Indian Rogue Scout and a 2025 Super Scout. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions about these things, leave a comment below. Also, get out and ride. Doesn't matter what you ride, just get out and do it. If you want to see more stuff, click this one. This one right here. Subscribe.